Hello and what's up everybody, Thunderbob here, and tonight we're going to be checking out a new upcoming game called Starfire Eternal Cycle. This is a roguelite kind of beat-em-up action game. It kind of feels a bit like Hades, except the action is more of like a side-scrolling beat-em-up game, like an old-school arcade beat-em-up game, which I'm a big fan of beat-em-up games. One of my first videos actually was a top 10 beat-em-up games of all time. I used to love these in the arcade, and I love roguelite games, and the combination of the two is pretty awesome. So we're going to check out some of this. I've actually already put in looks like a little over 90 minutes. I've done a couple of runs. We're going to go through just kind of the hub area, look at the upgrade system, and then we're going to go on a run and see how far we can get. There is like a meta upgrade system here. You can do things like increase your initial HP, how many of the upgrades you could have, a guaranteed legendary at the start of the initial stage. There's a bunch of weapons that'll be in the full game. I'm just playing the playtest here today. Full game comes out sometime in Q3, it says on Steam. I don't have an exact date, but it looks like many of these are locked in the version I'm playing here. So far I've only been able to play with the Lightning Fist, which pretty fun to play with, but I've seen some videos of other weapons and they all seem quite different, very much like Hades, where each weapon plays very different. So that's kind of the upgrade system I have. I'm not sure if there's more that unlocks, but that's what I see, some basic upgrades and then different weapon options. And then over here you get to pick your stage, your difficulty. And I did play through this a couple times already. I played on beginner, and when I beat the second world, that Desert of Death, it basically like ended my game and took me back to the main menu, and I thought that was the end of the playtest I'm in, but apparently that just unlocks the next difficulty, which then lets you play Volcano, and presumably when you beat those 3 levels on easy, you've unlocked the next difficulty and the next level. So this may be the full game. I'm not 100% sure on this playtest, but I've only been able to get to the end of the second. So we're going to start on easy this time and see how far I can get. And I wasn't following the story too closely. I really don't know what's going on. But these kind of games really don't need much story for me. I love beat 'em up games. I love this genre. And this hits a lot of those notes. Let's see. So I get a core, max HP, perfect dash, heavy attack, heavy attack. We'll go with the HP. And then you have to actually equip these in core slots. You only have so many slots. And then this is the legendary one, which I got for that that meta upgrade I had. So I can do, let's see, this one, 6% crit rate, heavy attack cooldown, 20% crit hit damage, fixed damage, and then vine attacks trigger 3 additional thorns that deal 500% vine damage to enemy. I don't have anything to trigger vines right now, so that doesn't seem like it would be super useful. 40% max HP, perfect dash, heavy attack, fixed damage. When falling gold is triggered, 10% chance to double falling gold. Falling gold is like an item you can get, and it increases your damage based on the amount of gold that you've earned. And this one, perfect dash duration, thunder orb damage, ranged attack, and it's weird that there's 2 thunder orb damages on there. And then you get thunder flare triggers an additional 3 times with a 10% chance to double thunder flare count each time it activates. Is that thunder flare is my, we're gonna see, and the descriptions aren't super detailed here. All right, we're gonna see. Oops, so we're gonna install those. And I'm not sure if that thunder flare is that. So I've got a basic attack, and then I've got a dash, and then you've got on your left bumper, it does kind of like a quick, and maybe that's the thunder flare, because usually I don't have those things circling me. Thunder flare counts each time. I'm really not sure. And then when I build up that bar on the bottom right, I can do right bumper and do like a bigger attack essentially, and you can build it up to 3 times. I don't know. We'll keep going. And then you can kind of pick, do I want more HP or do I want cores? At this point, I want cores. Those augment your play a lot. Yet, I think that is those lightning that are coming out of me periodically, that I think is from that legendary core. And it seems, I played through this a couple of times, and each time feels very different, even though I've only had the one weapon. And then you also level up, so you get experience as you're going, which gives you kind of just basic stat boosts. We'll go with attack speed. And then for each level, you get like a core upgrade or an item, some kind of bonus. We get some experience bonus. We'll go with treasure. That's actual like gear that you can get. And I don't know how balanced everything is. I've definitely had some builds where it's just like I'm doing just insane damage and one-shotting everything. And some of the stat boost you get from those legendary cores just seems kind of ridiculous. So I've got some thunder flare going on. Here's a higher chance to trigger it. Does it? See, I don't know what I'm gonna go with that. Then I get a chest here. Attack damage has taken damage has a 2% chance to reset cooldowns. Each rage attack has a 10% chance to permanently increase its damage by 3%. Taking damage increases critical damage for the next attack by 100%, expands range. Press this bumper to attack when rage. Okay, so that bar is your rage bar. Okay, each rage attack has a 10% chance to permanently increase its damage by 3%. That doesn't seem like a lot. Sure, I'm getting hit enough there, that'll probably trigger. And there's other things like it'll say, let's look at the shop. Actually, I don't have enough gold. That's probably not very useful. So you get weapons that you don't actually equip. They just kind of are in your inventory. It's these cores you have to equip. So I get a rebirth, which I think if I die once, I can come back. Trigger incarnation every 30 critical hits. Doubling critical damage for 6 seconds. Not incarnation, incineration. If I could read, that would help. Each time rage attack is cast. I don't have enough money for any of these. This thing will let you put 3 cores in and pay a little gold and basically combine them into a higher tier, and then you can also reforge things. Don't have enough resources. I don't know why I picked the shop here. I was kind of dumb. I guess I could just buy one since I'm here. Just kind of wasted that. And now we're in a mini boss. You can see that bar at the top. I'm like halfway through and you fight a big mini boss. Yeah, I'm doing crazy damage already. Weapon damage, rage recovery, we'll go with weapon damage. And then there's like weapon damage and fixed damage. There's all these different damage pools, and I'm not completely sure what is most beneficial to each attack yet. It's like there's a little bit of lack of detail. Like you can hit right bumper sometimes and it'll give you a little bit more. So weapon damage, max HP, thunderbolt damage, rage attack, heavy, weapon, rage. Excuse me, I think weapon attack is your base attack. So this would give me like, it's a pretty big boost to that base attack, plus extra HP. 10% chance to trigger a flame ring, dealing 200% weapon damage, and that's on critical hit, which I think my crit right now is only 5%. So 5% of the time, I have a 10% chance. That's pretty low. It's like 2.5% on every attack, basically. For every 6 light attack, temporary boost weapon damage by 1%, max. Oh, 3% for weapon damage, and then 1% crit rate. So 5 stacks, that's a 5% crit rate boost, 15% damage, a single instance of damage. Some of these I feel like I need like a calculator. Any single instant damage you take cannot exceed 80% of your max HP. That basically means you will not get one shot. That's kind of useful, I suppose, if you don't want to get one shot. I kind of want to do this just to see what the flame ring looks like. I'll keep going for more cores. Look at those things spinning around me. They're just like murdering everything. I got lightning just flying everywhere. Kind of liking the crit. I get an epic here. Fixed damage, fixed damage. See, like, I don't know what what skills are impacted by fixed versus the weapon. I'm thinking weapon is that, and then the fixed is for your left bumper or right bumper attacks, but I wish it was a little more clear. Got all my slots filled at this point. It's time to, let's see, large amounts of gold, sure. I'm just like one-shotting everything. One thing I found, the first run, easy until about the second world, then it started to pop off, but also with the upgrade I have, I start out with my legendary core, which those legendary cores give you so much power. Like, I just like almost one-shot that guy. Weapon damage, thunderbolt, fixed. I definitely feel like there's some balance, like, issues where certain abilities just feel a little overpowered. For every 30 cumulative critical hit, there's a 20% chance your critter enters Rampage, granting critical damage, increased attack speed, movement speed. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. For every 30 critical hits, there's a 20%. I'm not completely sure if I understand. Is it for every 30 critical hits you get, or 30% of your critical hit chance? I'm not sure. Any instant? Yeah, that's the damage one. 10 fixed damage for every 10 critical hits. That gets up to 100 times. Lasts till the end of battle. I don't know. I want to see what happens when I trigger that. Those are like story little beats that you get to. Want to go to the shop? I got a lot of gold now. We'll go to the shop for the last boss of the first area. Trigger incineration every 30 seconds. Alright. Triggers incineration every 30 critical hit, doubling critical damage for 6 seconds. Character doesn't instantly lose health when taking damage, but suffers gradual health. Okay. When HP is below 50, increases weapon damage and crit rate. Should really install that. We'll take off the little Minsky 4% experience. Like, those purple orbs getting shot out of me are doing, like, incredible amount of damage. And, like, the first time I ran this, it took me probably, like, a good 2 minutes to beat that boss. Gain fixed damage every 10 critical hit, attacks up to 100 times. For 100, so for every 100 health, you get 6% weapon damage. So that would be like 14 times 6. Is that like always active? Acquiring gold. Weapon damage increases by 6%. Stacks up to 30 times less until battle ends. There's a lot of like interesting, but very, like all of the increases require like a bunch of, okay, when you crit on a Tuesday and it's raining, this will trigger. I think this one, because it's just like an always on thing, you don't have to trigger it, right? That seems like a lot of weapon damage increase. And then another legendary one here. Fixed damage, critical hit damage, heavy attack cooldown, rebirth, perfect dash duration. For every 3 Thunder Orb triggered, unleash a thunderstorm that deals 900% damage. That's a ton of damage. Heavy attacks now, dash forward to attack, dealing 3 times heavy attack. Trigger explosion art effort after 6. I don't have anything triggering fireball, so I don't think that's going to help. This seems like it would synergize with all my other bullshit. We're going to go with that. It's a DeLorean. Am I going back to the future? I feel like that upgrade that lets you start with a legendary, with how powerful the legendaries are, might be too powerful. Like the legendaries, like, really impact your power level so much. It kind of feels like too easy now. Definitely before I had that unlocked, I was finding it more difficult. It really didn't cost much. Like, I want to say I unlocked that on my like 2nd or 3rd run. This is also a pretty good Steam Deck game, I'll mention. That guy's not dying. I played it on Steam Deck, didn't really have many issues. It's not verified or anything, but it does run. I'll go with treasure because I've got all my core slots filled. You can get more of those core slots as you level up. I think the readability on some of the enemy attacks could be a little bit better, but I'm like dealing so much damage, I'm really just being offensive rather than trying to avoid damage. So maybe that's on me. For 100 max HP increase, so I boost that from 6 to 9. Taken damage increases critical damage for the next 5. I don't know what this health recovery area, when do you get that? So this triggers if I take damage. I feel like this is like just boosting my damage all the time. I think I spent some more of our money. I hit the wrong buttons. So the battle results are the one that gives you more gold. So now taking that, each point in this stat also gives you 5 fixed damage. It seems like a lot. Sprint boost dodge chance by percentage. I could dismantle them for this currency, which I think is like the meta upgrade currency, if I remember. So I might as well, if I'm not going to use them. Mid-boss from the second act here. They do telegraph most of the AoE and like big attacks pretty well, where it almost fills up the whole screen. Weapon damage, get the attack, weapon damage, fixed damage. They need to have like a list somewhere what all upgrades like impact what abilities. It's just not super clear from like this screen what. So there's a left bumper there, so that shows me base weapon damage, thunder flare damage, thunder flare probability, thunder flare damage. See, it's like, why is that there twice? But thunderbolt damage, thunderbolt probability, base damage 350, 10% chance to trigger thunder flare on hit with a 20% chance to trigger thunderbolt when triggering thunder flare. It's like some of it's a little overly complex. Like I like the gameplay and the loop here, but I feel like I need a calculator and like a PhD to understand how some of these are all like feeding into each other. And the legendary ones are just so much better than anything else. It doesn't seem like it's even worth it to take the basic cores at this stage. But I can get gear which will, like, I can have as many items equipped as I want, it seems. It's a little bit of an odd choice. So just keep increasing the rate on that. And I wish there were more types of encounters. Like, some of my favorite things in like Hades is the non-combat encounters where you run into some mythological person and like you don't even fight them, they just kind of talk to you and like give you a buff or something. I kind of miss that in this, where it's just like everyone is a fight and it's just you're picking the reward you're getting. Like, it'd be nice if there's a little more variety. I think I'm almost to the next boss. Looking at the thing on the left side there, if I hold left trigger, it pulls up. Select skills or talent cards related to electro element reaching a certain number of trigger element affinity bonuses. So the more of those I collect, it impacts like the base ability more, I think. I don't know. It's fun. It's just I'm not quite understanding the many systems happening here all at once. Damage, perfect dash, thunder bolt damage, fixed damage, pierce damage. I'm kind of just like picking at random to some extent because I don't know. So there's some health whenever you defeat an enemy, but I'm gonna have 1600 health. So what, 10 enemies will give me 100 health? I guess that's better than nothing. There was also some things I've seen that increases your healing. Probably go spend some of this gold before the next boss. What are these things about? They like followed me from the last level. So I got a rebirth. I think if I die, I'm at least one more go. So this is, I beat this boss, and then it basically sent me back to the main menu, so we'll see if I beat him, if it lets me keep playing or not. This boss was actually a little bit difficult, because he has like, it reminds me of the Hydra from the original Hades, where he had the different heads, and you had to like kill the heads, and then kill the boss. Overall, though, this feels a little easier than Hades, at least with a decent combination of powers. You're just dealing so much damage. I'm just kind of like avoiding the red on the screen. Oh, not so well there. Yeah, that was much easier than my first run. When you take damage, convert 10% to an equal amount of gold. So if I take 100 damage, that becomes 10 gold. So there's another thunder. We'll go with that just to kind of keep the synergy going. I gotta figure out something to take off though. Let's see. Okay, it looks like I am continuing to the volcano level. See if we can beat this. I've not gotten this far. The last time it took me back to the menu. And I'm assuming if I get to the end of this level, it'll probably unlock the next difficulty, but it will not let me probably get all the way to the next level. So if we beat this one and it does that, I'm gonna be done for the night because it's getting to be my bedtime. Kind of has the same loop to it as Hades, the combat, where you're like, you get some attacks in, and then you gotta dodge out of there before you take damage, and you get kind of like some invulnerability when you do that. Just gotta keep getting that gold, hit another shot before the boss. Seems like I've got enough healing coming in that it's kind of keeping up with the damage I'm taking. Yeah, but when those guys hit me, that's like 20% of my health there. Yeah, let's go ahead and spend. I got a lot of gold going on here. My health recently has been going down, but that is a big jump, doubling it. The reading on this one, for every 30 cumulative critical hit, there's a 40% chance the character enters a rampage, granting 100% damage, speed, movement. I mean, that's like, I guess it's happening twice as much. I want to buy them both. And then, you know, I could like break down some of these for more of the, I'm not using them, might as well. Midway boss. This looks a lot like the boss from the first act, doesn't it? The mid boss. Wonder if they repeat or if there's some randomness there. Starting to take more damage. That one upgrade that limits the maximum damage you can take at one time would seem useful. So a chance to double the healing. So instead of getting 10, I'd get 20. But this actually just makes it go when every time it triggers 20% rather than a chance at doubling. That seems like that's way better than. It definitely feels like there's some balance issues where it's like there's just like clearly this is better than the other thing. Like it's got one doubles the healing it gives me, and then the other one gives me a 20% chance of doubling it. So I guess that would impact any healing and not just from that one skill, but still it feels a little funky. Feeling pretty confident in this build at the moment. She got one crit rate. Seems like once you get enough cores, it's like not really beneficial keep going for the cores because they're usually just like the weak base ones. You only got so many slots for them. Getting the items which like seemingly stack forever just seems like the better option. Maybe I'm not understanding the downside if there is one. So much gold. I don't remember how much health this even gives me. Let's see. My heavy attack when I use it is like 50,000 damage. Is that it? Yeah. 180. That's what, 5% boost? 10% boost? Gotta watch, I do take a decent amount of damage. Could end up getting like 1 or 2 shot if I'm not careful. Whenever you heal, additionally restore 5% of current fixed damage. I have no idea what that means. How do you restore fixed damage? I guess we'll go with that because I do need some more healing. Do I have any of these basic ones still? I'm up to 23% crit rate. I had like a 35 on one of my earlier runs. Get a lot of gold to spend. Do I ever see that flame ring actually working? Just gonna buy everything. Seems like there's not like a reason not to. Click the wrong button. I think this is the currency you can use outside of a match. I think. If not, I should be refining more, because presumably you could get like one with the better stats. I totally whiffed on that. Ow. No, don't walk in like the path of these fine. Kind of like stand in his butt. Oh, I'm almost dead already. Oh, I had the rebirth. That rebirth I took saved my life there. I just about put my controller down. I don't think I can keep going, so it doesn't really matter what I pick here, but... The orb instantly recovers rage. My thunder flare is gonna trigger like so many. I think it's probably gonna kick me back to the menu if I've been understanding this right. Yeah, congratulations on clearing the game. Oh, okay, so that is the end of the demo. You can continue playing to unlock additional content and more exciting features will be revealed in the full version. Okay, so that's the end of the playtest. Well, that's good to know. Got a B rating, level 23, 17 minutes. I bet that's not taking the time I'm staring at the upgrades, though. Let's just see if there's anything new I can upgrade. So I have the resources to unlock that now. I probably should do that. I just want to see what it looks like. Okay, so that's the ranged. So that like completely changes things up. So you got now, and the animation on that's pretty cool. And then you have like a flamethrower. Oh, and look, there's more upgrades now. That's cool. So as you progress, I guess you get more options to pick from here. And yeah, that currency, I think that's the one that I was banking. The gold, you get so much of it, it doesn't seem like that's very useful. Let's get all the slots. And let's just see, does it... Yeah, so that's the end of the demo. But the thing is, when you first start... And look, they didn't unlock another difficulty either. But when it first starts, you're on beginner and you can do the first 2 levels. And then when you beat those 2, it unlocks easy and you can do volcano. I wonder if that's how the progress in the full game's gonna go. It's fun. It's a little easy, and maybe it's just I had like good builds, but like for this type of game, I feel like initially it should be a lot harder, and you do the meta upgrade system, and like you keep making progress, and then eventually you become kind of overpowered. And here I kind of felt like overpowered right from the beginning, but there's just not really enough content to like, I don't know, to drag it out. I want to see if I pick this, if it gives me those vines. Like, some of the things just, I feel like, are not explained as well as they could. But I'm going to end this momentarily. I just want to play around with the shooting here. Kind of turns it into like a little bit of a run and gun kind of. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's the raid bumper attack. Yeah, I'm not triggering those vines, so it's weird that you can take that. Summons vines will double in quantity permanently, but how do I actually summon them? It says with 2-piece you summon at the start of battle. I don't know, there is a lot here. And I generally like the gameplay, I like beat 'em up games, but I'm curious if there's only 5 worlds. Like I kind of beat, you know, potentially half of the game's content in 2 hours or so. I feel like maybe there's too many difficulties. Like, truncate the difficulties into just a couple and make the base one a little bit harder. But yeah, overall I've enjoyed my time I've spent with the playtest here. It's been fun on the PC and on the Steam Deck. I don't have an exact date, but I'm assuming this will be coming out soon, as Steam says Q3, so that doesn't leave a lot of time left before we're into Q4. But yeah, I'll end it there. If I spend more time with this when the game is fully released, maybe I'll do a review on this. But at the moment, just a quick preview. I've enjoyed what I've played. I can recommend checking out the demo. There's a free demo out there. And if nothing else, keep an eye on this for the full release and see what it's like at release. Thanks for watching, everybody, and have a good night.